And my friend Brad is an old friend of mine from college, which goes back almost 30. Does it go back 30 years? I think it
30
goes back
years.
30.
Yeah.
That's insane. Yeah. So 30 years ago, being in the same dorm. And I drew Brad into this conversation because I know he cares about the health, the holistic health of being a person that's leading the people of God, a church, and he helped church plant as well. And so these are things that are true to his story. We love to have people on here that are actually practicing the things that they're talking about. And so I'm glad to have Brad here as a practitioner, but also I think in some levels an expert in how to approach health. And so glad you're with me, Brad. We could probably have a 2 or 3 hour conversation, but we've got about 15 minutes. So I just want to get it going and see where we can start when it comes to health here.
Sure. Um, let me introduce myself a little bit further. So
Absolutely.
I've been in pastoral ministry for 20 something years, 27 years,
Mm,
and
mhm.
uh, and I've been at four different local churches, different
Mm,
capacities. But the
yeah.
last experiment was with a co-friend of ours, Brian Hurlbut. And 15 years ago, I uh, joined him in this church plant out in Utah. And
Mm,
Utah is a very unique uh, place to plant a church.
mhm.
It's hard to summarize, but it is a dirt road off the evangelical highway. There's no
Mm,
mainstream anything there. A lot
mm.
of church plants have come and gone since I even came. I bet 50 or 60,
Wow.
and
Wow.
probably only, I don't know, 25% of those have survived. It's a very
Mm,
difficult place to plant a church, whether you do it traditionally, whether you do it
yeah.
creatively, it doesn't matter, um,
Yeah.
because of the environment. So I came out because we were moving from one to three local church campuses, and that was my role. And there's a whole prophecy that the Lord gave me involving
Mm,
that. I'll save that for maybe another discussion. But we came out to support. It had started, and we had started supporting that for several years, and it got up to about where it wasn't even self-sustaining, the church plant, but it was to a point where they wanted to move from one to three campuses because they wanted to incarnate into different local communities. And when I came
mm.
into that, um, uh, it was a very intense environment. It was when people come to our church, even now, they recognize that the pace is super amplified compared to anywhere else they go. It's just the way we run.
Mm,
But
mm.
I wanted to kind of start the. Um,
Yeah.
do you want me to start presenting a little bit? Because I
Yeah.
don't want
Yeah.
to go. I don't want Q and
Yeah.
A too. So as I thought about things, the intense environment, emotional health and physical health are not two items on the church planter's self-care checklist. That we're the same person, the same body, the same soul, and
Mm,
either we're tending those things, or they're depleted.
okay.
And church planting depletes both of them simultaneously.
Okay.
And
Yes.
it's and as soon as I dropped in, it was almost like being on another planet. I it, everything was being taxed all at once. The spiritual,
Huh.
obviously, but also the
Yep.
emotional and the physical.
Yes.
And um, talking about tending
Mm,
both is really important to practically
yeah.
doing ministry. I'll tell you about a vacation that told me some truth about me emotionally, and then I'll tell you something about a little anecdote
Yeah.
physically. First, I was on vacation. We were about 5 years in, maybe 6 years in, and we were visiting a close friend. And we went to a church where the district minister, who I had really good, honest conversations with, um, he was preaching that week at the gathering and at my friend's church. And I came up to him and greeted him after the service. And I intended to simply say hello, but instead I immediately began to like cry, uh, uncontrollably,
Mm.
and right in front of my family, and I couldn't stop it.
Mm.
And we have been building 5 to 7 years at Lifeline, and my role had changed from pastor ministry development because one of my colleagues had an affair with one of the other uh,
Oh.
leaders in our church, and I had stepped into his role to accommodate the need because it was a need.
Mm.
So I was now carrying a role outside of what I thought my calling was. Um,
Mm.
and there's financial pressures building up. You know, we were in year 5, so we had done it where, as the church matured, I let go of supporters. So we were just in that point of
Mm-hmm.
now I'm in a free fall. You know, there's no safety net anymore,
Mm.
and
Mm.
um, we were far from our original support network. Our families were out east, a lot of our friends. So I had not
Wow.
processed any of it, and the ministry need was always more urgent than my interior need.
Uh,
You know, the ministry always had this urgency of I have to just get it done. And
yes.
what I didn't realize was that I was slowly running out of anything in myself to give. And
Yeah.
it just vomited out when I was with Tom, you know, just shaking his hand because he was a person
Wow.
I could be vulnerable with. So, emotional
Yeah.
story. The physical story is very brief. It was in 2009. And you know that paper you sit on when you go to the physician? It's like real comfortable. No, not really.
Yeah.
It's like that thin paper on.
Crinkle.
I was
Yeah.
I was I was virtually naked on that paper. And I
Yeah.
remember the doctor coming in and he's like, Brad, you are diabetes waiting. And I had kids at home, declining energy, health concerns stacking. I was probably 70 or 80 pounds overweight. And
Mm.
these two moments in my life, the emotional moment,
Wow.
the physical moment, um, are two
Mm.
kinds of reckoning for me.
Yeah.
And I was the
Wow.
same person. It was the same depleted life. And I'm telling you these stories because they're not separate. The body and the
Yes.
soul were both sending me the same signal. I
Yes.
just wasn't listening to them at the
Yeah.
time. So, why does this matter to church planners? Well, obviously, we can say the mission matters, you know,
Yeah.
but sometimes that's not helpful. The
Mm.
the mission does matter, but the mission doesn't solely depend on us. God is moving His church
Yes.
forward regardless of
Yes.
us. We just want to join Him in a healthy way.
Yes.
So it
Yeah.
matters practically because church planning is a high identity environment. The plant's success or failure feature, it feels personal.
Ah. Okay.
And in a way that established ministry rarely does. Like established
Yeah.
ministry, like it just goes on. But with the plant, my wife is from Barcelona, Spain. Her dad was a church planner there, and the church plants are still going today. But that's rare,
Yeah.
you know.
Yes.
And it
Yes.
mattered that it was well established and mature.
So
Planters
when
are
you
off.
say,
Go ahead.
Brad, when you say high identity environment, you're saying that our identities are strongly connected to the outcome of a plant in a kind of a more intense way?
Um, Probably it's a misplaced level of
Yes.
identity in the
Yeah.
church plant, for sure.
Yes.
But
Yes.
but but often you need that a little bit because planters are pioneers and they have a
Yeah.
pioneer temperament and they have a high pain tolerance and a high drive.
Yeah.
They they
Yes.
they have a low help seeking, and these are
Mm.
assets. These are real assets in year one, but
Yeah.
they become liabilities in year five because you need to
Interesting.
multiply.
Yeah.
You need to
Yes.
develop people. But,
Yeah.
you know, year one, it's just so intense. The other one is isolation of church planting. And I know the B3 network, that's why you're doing this, but the
Yeah.
isolation of planting removes natural accountability that comes from being embedded in an institution. Now, I'm not
Yes.
saying the institution's good or healthy. I'm just saying no one checks on you because there's no system that does often.
Yes. Yes.
And emotional health matters. It depletes because there's no check. And then moral
Yeah.
failures in the team, which happen a lot,
Yes. They do.
land on our emotional level or ledger, I should say. They land on our emotional ledger of whether we cause them, and
Yeah.
and these things happen. So
Brad, on that one there,
go ahead.
you're Brad, on that one, that's really interesting. That you're saying that the moral failures that happen around us or in our team, we take on some level of responsibility or weight because of their moral failures. Is that what you're?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's natural because we're a leader to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. It's a
Sure.
common thing that happens, and you have to work through
Yeah.
it. So the
Yeah.
ledger emotionally, if you're at
Mm.
80% and you have a moral failure on your team, it just plummets because you're like,
Yeah.
why didn't I see this? Did I have a cause in this? And maybe you have.
Yeah.
You should have seen it. Maybe you should learn from it. Maybe you did have a little bit of a hand in contributing to it, but you didn't have the hand, and you have to work through all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That's
Um,
huge.
Peter Peter Scazzaro wrote a book, Emotionally
Yeah.
Healthy Leader. Um, I'm not saying the book's perfect, but it's a pretty good
Hmm.
book for.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
helpful book. And there's in the
Yeah.
first chapter, there's 4 characteristics of an emotionally unhealthy leader. So he offers a diagnostic.
Okay.
Um, and the 4 are: we become unaware of our emotional world. So this
Huh.
leads to surface. We're driven by task goals, outcomes, while remaining largely disconnected from what we're actually feeling. Busyness becomes the
Mm.
default setting. And I think we can recognize this in ourselves when somebody asks how you're doing, and your default answer is just busy. And you can't give an honest answer.
Yeah.
And in counseling, I don't ask people to give the honest answer. I just look for whether or not it is honest, and let's work
Yeah.
toward it. But
Yeah.
as we self evaluate, we're unaware of our emotional world. Second, we prioritize ministry over marriage and family. And the
Mm.
church becomes the primary relationship. The spouse and
Um,
children receive what is left over. And this is rarely a conscious choice. It often happens like
yeah.
gradually.
Yeah.
And I recognized it in my kids after and their teenage years. So we moved when they were preteen, and they were
Hmm.
compliant. Our kids were great. They were helping setting up chairs, doing kids stuff, being part of the community. And then all of a sudden they're letting me know, like, they asked me why I forced them into it. They asked me
Mm.
but I'm like, oh, okay, well, I was prioritizing the ministry over their feelings. And
Mm,
not that the ministry wasn't important. It was just always
sure.
important because you're
I see.
starting it
Yeah.
up. And this actually happens when you start a business too.
Yeah.
These are very,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, and third, they do their own thing and call it God's will. So we're
Oh,
emotionally
yeah.
unhealthy. Uh, you're a type A, right? Personality. You're pretty driven.
I
I
don't know if I am anymore, but
okay. Well, I don't mean to pigeonhole you, but you're very driven,
no, that's okay.
and a lot of times when you're type A,
Yeah.
you're driving things forward to do the thing, and all of a sudden it morphs
Yeah.
into this is God's will, and
I
and
see.
like
Yeah.
and any course
Mm,
correction seems like failure.
yeah.
Feedback feels like opposition, and you can
Mm,
tell you're emotionally unhealthy when all of a sudden your thing becomes what God's thing is. And
yeah. And
yeah,
that happens, Brad. It kind of reminds me of the earlier one you said that these things happen slowly to a
hmm
point where you don't realize that it happens, right? It's not like you wake
yeah,
up in the morning saying, "Well, today I want to take my selfish ambition and turn this into a God thing," right? It starts. It's a slow
hmm
kind of morph.
and that's
Yeah.
why it to think that it will be a fast recovery from unhealth
Mm,
is is a bad expectation.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, our emotional bank account um, can give deposits very quickly or withdrawals very quickly, but deposits come
Yeah.
very slowly. And resetting
Yeah.
that expectation is hard for a leader who's like, but I have to get to the ministry. I have all these, and
Yeah.
you could be bivocational or full time. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It just
Yeah.
slows. And then the fourth thing he
Yeah.
says is they lack a Sabbath rhythm and a rule of life, and they treat
Mm,
rest as a reward for finished work. And since the
uh,
work is never finished, they never
sure.
truly rest. And
Yeah.
there's no rhythm of withdrawal, no structured margins, no practice of stopping.
Yeah.
There's always a leader who's always available and always running on the wrong kind of fuel. You run on stress.
Yeah. Yes.
So, I'm going to zoom through a couple of things, five
So
practice.
Brad,
Go ahead. No.
When you had that moment of that emotional, that you cried and it all vomited out, were you not? Was that like you weren't noted? You weren't actually aware of what those tears were? Was it just like what was happening there?
Oh, that's a good question, Dan. Thank you for asking it. I Now looking back, I am aware of what it was, but at the time I was
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
Um, I'm very aware that I had covered up so much of my emotions by the missional,
Mm,
um, being
yeah.
mission driven, and I am mission driven.
Yep.
I think it's,
Yeah.
but the high pain tolerance. We go back to that.
Yeah.
Church
Yeah.
planners just have a high pain tolerance if they're going to do it. Uh,
Yes.
and I wasn't actually aware of how depleted I had become. It was almost like
Huh.
if you play a video game and you have the power meter, and
Yep.
the power meter doesn't flash until it's like critical,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and all that flash critical. I I got to a point. I made a wisdom decision that was wrong about a person, and it was kind of a big deal. And people were
Yeah.
asking, "Why did you do that?" And when I reflected back on that, I'm like, normally I would never have made that decision,
Mm,
but you start making really bad choices. And
yeah.
as and then it cycled into, for me, and this is different for other people. I have a or kind of a frailty where my mom was a paranoid schizophrenic. So, and it
Mm,
was a trauma, stress induced
yep.
event for her.
Mm,
And so, like, I almost thought I was going crazy, like really
mm,
crazy. And I'm like, hey, why is this happening to me? Why can't I think clearly?
mm,
Why am I so? For me,
mm,
it wasn't all the time like anger. For me,
yeah.
it was like this this sadness and
Mm,
like uncontrollable sadness and melancholy. Uh, it wasn't quite depression, like a physical
yeah.
depression. It was
Yeah.
more of a spiritual, emotional depression. Um,
Mm,
so I hope that answers
that
your
does. Yeah.
question.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Um,
I meet with a lot of planters and pastors who are uh, having these moments of surprising emotional outbursts or
uh,
unfraying, they're and 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 they they try to kind of tuck it back in. It feels like a liability. It feels like a liability to for that stuff to show up. Uh, and
mm,
my question is, this isn't just that you're emotional. This is a signal that something inside you is trying to negotiate. How can I get through this? And it's it's just one sign when there's an excess of emotion, which is not sin or evil or bad. It's just
mhm.
it's revealing that there's something that hasn't been tended to. And I think it's profound. I think it's absolutely relatable and profound that you had that like awkward vomit. That was, and I've had that myself. I've had two of those moments in my life. Like, why am I falling apart right now? And it's hard to find words too, actually, when you're in those moments.
Mm,
Um, you're There's some neuroscience around this. Your language center is actually diminished when you're in overwhelm like that, and so it's sometimes really hard to even find words for
mhm.
what this is and why it is. So thanks for sharing that. It's really
Yeah. Well,
I
that's part
connect
of
with that.
the
And
trauma response,
yes,
the freeze, where your language center
yes,
actually can't process what to do
yeah,
with.
yeah,
And you need some space, some time to do
yeah.
that. I'll share something about something that was really helpful as we go forward, because
Mm,
I think um, there's a lot of pressure, like this is a liability for me,
yeah, yeah,
especially when it's tied to your vocation, and
yes,
you think,
yeah,
but honest, like I just want to relieve the pressure. Most people are very like they understand. You're just a
yeah,
leader. You're not Jesus. You're
yeah,
just the leader, and it's okay.
yeah,
It's okay to be frail,
yeah,
but you have to be
yeah.
careful who you're frail with. Um,
Sure,
uh, so
absolutely.
um, I think the thing I want to say about that is, well, I'll say in this. Five practices that actually move the meter emotionally.
Mm,
And they're low cost, they're not complicated, they're high return, They're not programs, they're more postures, more principles.
Okay.
And you hit one right on the head. The first one is name what you're feeling. And
Yeah.
when I do a lot of counseling, and one thing I use with young men, even older men, is I use that feelings wheel, and
Yeah.
it helps you name the feeling. And when people ask you what's going on, it's not I'm tired. You actually
Right.
you start to kind of get a vocabulary, and it helps you through a
Yeah.
vocabulary. And this is
Yes.
the beginning of emotional awareness. And it costs
Yeah.
nothing, but most leaders really don't do it consistently. Like, how do
Yeah.
I
It's
feel
true.
right now? Okay, I feel Fred. I would never say that. Why do I feel Fred?
Yeah.
Well, because
Yeah.
there's a power struggle, and I may
Mm.
lose power. Okay. And when you start processing it, your theological
Yeah.
filter starts kicking in, and oh,
Yeah.
actually, I might be stepping into God territory here. Instead of submitting to God, I'm trying to be God. I'm trying to
Yeah.
control my situation fully, and
Mm.
instead of
Yes.
my
It's
response
really
to the
good.
situation. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Name what you're
Yeah.
feeling. I think the second one, see a counselor. That
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw this guy. We have a counseling center in our church, and 75% of our counselings are outside of our church. It's a great ministry to the community that I live in.
Mm.
But I needed somebody outside of my
Okay.
network. So I
Yeah.
called this guy, and and it was just so good. And he worked with me on price. It wasn't like most counselors don't want to,
Yeah.
like put it to you on price. They want to help you. And we
Mhm.
worked out something, and because I've
Mm.
been carrying the weight alone, a weight that was designed to be shared. And
Yes.
um, I it's not because I was broken, but I needed some recovery and
Yes.
healing. Now,
Yes.
if I had kept
Yes.
going, there was a point break. Like
Yeah.
I saw it clearly after this.
Yes. Yes.
And the strongest leaders I know have a counselor.
Yes.
Um,
That's good.
and it doesn't have to always
Why?
be like professional, but
Yeah, Brad, why do you think there's a we have a lot of leaders that come here to the Caneo Center and reveal they have to take there's an intake report they have to fill out before they come. I'd say at least 50% have never don't have a counselor or have never sat in spiritual direction or had therapy. It's probably even more than that. Why what is why are people keeping that at arm's length, especially leaders, pastors, planters? What is it? Can you even identify in yourself maybe why you didn't up to that point?
well, first of all, I think you're asking me a question you already know the answer to. But to get my, because you see so many more people who are in ministry than
Yeah.
I do. But if I were to guess about myself,
Yes.
it was a menagerie of things.
Okay.
Like it's the pressure of ministry and the intensity of it. That's
Okay.
part of it. The feeling that um, if I let this out, like it's a Pandora's box,
Yeah.
and and uh, like it, and a lot of times once you let it out, it, it, it it's not it's big, but it's not as big as you thought it was.
Sure.
But
Yes.
you actually can't let it out, and that's another thing. It kind of is juxtaposed to our leader identity. pride,
Yeah.
the pride.
Yeah.
So I think there's a
Yeah.
pride piece. And also, I do think there is a little bit of a availability piece of it.
Hmm.
Like you do want to find the right people.
Yes. Yes.
And it's
Yeah.
hard to find the right. So I know that's
Yeah.
part of what you're doing is
Yeah.
you're curating good people to help
Yeah.
other people, including yourself.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that they're scared. And then
Yeah.
also
Hmm.
churches are also um, territorial and kind of cut off. Like they, they
Yeah.
don't they don't network with people on this subject
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they're isolationistic oftentimes.
Yep.
But that's a whole
Yeah.
other bigger issue.
Yeah. Sure.
But
Sure.
I could go to Tom. Tom was the district minister at the time. He wrote
Hmm.
a book on the pastor evaluating his heart, and I read that, and like so, I felt very comfortable with Tom, which was good.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he wasn't available to the intensity I needed.
So
Actually,
you're kind of evaluating the safety of someone to be able to handle you. Um,
mhm,
and that's probably where a lot of planters and pastors have some anxiety and fright, possibly, that is is anyone really safe for to handle my inner world, where it won't be weaponized, or I won't be judged, or it's not a further liability. I think safety is hard for pastors and planters um, to discern, maybe even define, but sometimes it's self like
mhm,
no one can, there's some safety that we don't see because we think our world is so unique and our challenges are absolutely so idiosyncratic that nobody can really handle it well. And so, yeah, thanks for sharing that. I just was curious what
yeah,
you on that counsel
yeah.
piece. What's the third one?
Well, the third is protect one non-ministry relationship, and
Mm,
um, what one person you knew before you planted who doesn't need anything from you pastorally or ministerially, who will tell
yes.
you the truth. I've curated about 5 people that
Mm,
basically I can share almost anything with. You don't have to do that many. You just need one.
yeah.
You really, and that
Yeah.
that helps to meter. Build one stopping point into every week. I mean, like a hard
Mm,
stop. Now, once you get to the church plant to the point where, like, maybe you have a couple people working together in a small church, and that's fine.
yeah.
But protect a stopping point for each of you, so you cover each other,
Yeah.
and you
Yes.
don't mind turning off the cell phone, not getting on social media.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Um,
That's good.
then the last one is audit your role against your calling annually. Don't do it
Mm,
all the time. Don't do it like every month. You'll be
yeah.
on Indeed all the time. But
Yeah.
yeah, but you know, like is what I'm doing really matching, to where what
Yes.
God's leading at this time? And
Yes.
because if you're doing not the wrong thing, but something you're not really matched for, I mean, it will kill
Yes.
you emotionally.
It will. Yeah. We uh
Uh,
we talk a lot about the gap that starts to form in our bodies between what our body is
mm,
telling us who we are. Our body is saying, "This is who you are, Dan," and then our willpower, which is telling us what I have to do and what I have to be. And you're that's what you're speaking of there, is like this. If that drifts over time, if there a greater chasm is formed between who you are and what you have to do, it it erodes you.
Hmm.
And so you have to consistently, absolutely consistently revisit that and audit that and check in with that. I think leaders are afraid to do that because typically that only happens when you're transitioning out of one role into another role. And so I think there's a little bit of nervousness to keep, yearly check in with the drift that happens between the way we're wired and the obligations that we've been picking up along the way. And um, it's so
Well,
good. So that was, I heard that in your story, Brad, like that you, you were, that was a significant noticing for you. There was so much that you were doing that was not you.
hmm And I think that uh, that difference, that differential, as it
Yeah.
grows,
Yeah.
it becomes harder to solve. And
Yes. Yeah.
and
Mm.
so it gets to a point where somebody else actually has to help you solve it.
Um,
When
yeah.
you do it every year, and like let's
Yes.
not that you have a wasted year, but let's say you have a year that it wasn't directed exactly how you want. You can
Yeah.
correct that. Say it's
Yes.
a decade.
Yes.
A
Yeah.
decade
Yeah.
is like
Absolutely.
I've wasted my
Yeah.
life. Yeah,
I know. Yeah.
I mean emotionally.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
um so evaluating it on a
That's
little
good.
bit and have it a little defined, write it down. You like to write so like write it down, be specific with it. Do you mind transitioning to a little bit of physical
Yeah.
health here? Because
Yeah. I absolutely. Yeah. Let's get into physical health. Let's do it.
so
Yeah.
what let's talk about why the body is the first casualty. So when you plan a
Mm.
church, there's like this launch adrenaline that happens the first 12, 36 months. And
Yeah.
you don't notice physical depletion. Like
Yeah.
it's all adrenaline driven. I mean, we're doing great work. People are coming to Jesus
Hmm.
and giving their lives to
Hmm.
him and loving him, and it's great.
Hmm. Yes.
Um, the the body becomes a very first casualty of that. Also, there's no
Mm.
institutional rhythm. So established churches have Sunday as an anchor. When
Yeah.
when you're starting up a church, I mean, there's so much energy, launch energy. It's like a
Yeah.
rocket that takes off. It takes
Yeah.
90% of its energy just to get off the ground, then 10%.
Yes.
So schedules are irregular, meals are irregular, sleep is irregular. And
Mm.
third thing is pressure produces nutritional and health shortages that compound over time. So you eat more fast food or convenient food. Um,
Yeah.
you, you you're not thinking about your health, and that
Right.
gap gets
Right.
bigger. The spiritual realization, my body. Sometimes we inaccurately say my body is just a vehicle for the mission, and I think that's bad theology. I
Yeah.
think the incarnation tells us that God took a body
Yes.
seriously enough to inhabit
Yes.
one, and we're an
Yeah.
embodied soul for
Hmm.
forever. I mean,
Yes.
like
Yes.
so. Neglecting the body is not just a spiritual focus; it's a failure of stewardship, and
Mm.
and 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 our body is also a way, one of the ways that we experience God.
Mm.
Like how can we say we feel refreshed unless our body was never refreshed? It gives us
Yes.
like a language.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
so, what does physical depletion look like in ministry?
Yes.
Well, I like. Uh, I think it looks like a few things. Chronic fatigue that sleep doesn't fix, and this is
Yeah.
the body running on stress hormones. So, you're
Yes.
getting sleep, but it's not good. Um,
Yes.
uh, increasing irritability, a short fuse, low
Yes.
patience in leadership moments. Often it's
Mm.
physical before it's spiritual. Weight changes,
Yes.
blood pressure. A
Hmm.
lot, a lot of people, the marker is all of a sudden
Yeah.
they go to the doctor and, oh, we need to put you on a blood pressure med, and it's no big
Yeah.
deal at first, but they're chasing
Yes.
symptoms after that. Pre-diabetic
Yes.
markers. So,
Mm.
like you have blood sugar that's all
Yep.
over, and that's the body
Yeah.
keeping score of what its scheduled thoughts.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Um, Numbing behaviors, late night screens, overeating,
Mm.
alcohol.
Yeah.
Oh my word!
Yeah.
And
Yes.
not to demonize it, but cannabis.
Yeah.
Cannabis is
Yeah.
like like it's a
Hmm.
huge thing to numb
Yes.
the the body, and it's the body looking
Yes.
for relief because it's not
Yes.
getting rest. And then
Yes.
illness that arrives. Let's say you go a first day on vacation. A lot of times, a marker is on that first day of vacation, you get sick.
Sick. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the body often waiting for permission to break down.
Yeah.
Like your body is an amazing thing, but you finally get on vacation, you're like, whoa, I'm on the blue
Yeah.
stands of, Puerto Rico, and we're having
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
great time. And I got a massive headache. I got,
Yeah.
I'm just not
Yes.
feeling well. So you
Yes.
mentioned a few
Yes.
things before, ulcers, panic
Yeah.
attacks, insomnia,
Yeah.
gut
Yeah.
gut health is when I do counseling, gut health is like the first thing. Like the
Mm.
gut health is
Mm.
usually the first thing that hits when a person is not taking care of their body. And
Yeah. Yeah.
and as we know, it affects the brain, it affects everything else because the gut is
Mm.
actually the second brain. A lot of people
Yes. Yes.
gut health. So the so I mentioned sitting on the table with my doctor. Uh,
Yeah.
my doctor had a real good perspective, and he was really honest with me, but gentle. He's like, "You're too young for this," and he was
Hmm.
basically giving me permission to put myself into the category of this is not you. You, like if you were 30 years older, maybe some of these things could be normal, but this is not normal. And he
Mm.
helped me frame it into a category that I couldn't just brush off. And
Yeah.
um, any thoughts,
Wow.
Dan?
Yeah. I mean, these are profound, but when you said the body is waiting for the permission to break down, I mean, I've seen that so much, especially here at Kineo. People come for a week or two, and some of them sleep for 14 to 16 hours the first day. Um, Migraines, getting
Mm,
a cold the first day or two. Like we see those, and they're often mystified. Like I'm in the most beautiful place, one of the most beautiful places in the world, and my body is, and it's really because they have been running on stress hormones and adrenaline up to this point. And so
mm,
this is so good, Brad. It connects a lot with my own story of ignoring my body until I couldn't ignore it any longer. Um, and a lot of that was absolutely attached to identity for me. Like if I paid attention to those things, it would have implications on whether I was
mm,
perceived as together, successful, the person for this job. And so I got early signs of that things were not okay. And if Tanya were on this call, she would say I was it took me almost 18 months to accept the truth. Even when my primary care physician and neurologist said, and a psychologist, all three of them actually said, "You- you're going to have a heart attack if you continue on this way." And I still fought that truth for more than a year. And the reason is because my identity was so overly attached with the perception of who I thought I had to be and what I thought others thought I had to be. And so I neglected my body because of that. But eventually the body wins, and I had no choice. And so this is really good, Brett. These are
let me
super helpful handholds. Yeah.
let me throw you an insight based on what you said.
Yeah.
Imagine, well, we didn't grow up with social
Right.
media, and imagine how much more entrenched it is to somebody who has never
Yes.
lived in a world where social media wasn't hooked in.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like it's so much more insidious. It's so much
Yes. Yeah.
more entrenched, ingrained.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
and I feel for like a church planner
Yeah.
starting out in their early 30s,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
that was their world. That is the
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and Matt, so it took you 18 months to break free, but
Yeah.
and you grew up on Nintendo 64. I mean, all
True.
right,
Yeah.
like it,
That's true.
we weren't even
Yeah.
NES yet, but
Yeah.
you get what I'm saying. Like it's so much more amplified now,
It
and
is.
I
Yeah.
think for the person who's younger, who who's just starting out, really try
Yeah.
to decouple from that
Yes.
to get
That's
to a
good.
healthy place, because that that makes it so much harder, so much
It
harder.
does.
Yeah.
I love it,
Um,
Brad. That's good.
8
Let's look
practices
at
that
your
will move.
practices. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Good
Hey, Brett, I
time.
didn't ask permission. I guess I shouldn't
Go
ask
ahead.
this on live, but can we share these? Can we send these notes out to
Oh yeah.
the
Whatever you
people
need
that
to
signed
do.
up for this webinar? Oh, great.
If they help, praise the Lord.
Yeah, they will.
8 practices that actually move the meter. These are same type of principle as emotional health. Low friction, high return, sustainable, not a program. The first one is just walk. Let's start with your spouse or friend. Like movement is so important to life.
Yes.
I so I had a guy in my youth ministry in Albany, New York, and he was in his 80s. He was a geologist, but in his retirement, he 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 loved the outdoors, and he took us hiking and biking, canoeing, into his mid to late 80s. Okay, and I
Wow.
asked Mal, how do you do it? And he's like, Brad, once you get older, he's like, the only principle you need to learn is just don't stop moving. And that's a principle I've held on to. Just walk, just do something every day.
Yeah.
I think the second principle invades our lives pretty acutely is sleep before screens. We need to address that. The single highest return physical change most pastors can make, or church planners can make, is no screens 30 minutes before you sleep. There's all these biochemical things, I won't get into those.
Yeah.
But sermon prep can wait. Your brain cannot consolidate without sleep, and you can't lead without your brain. Number 3, drink water before coffee. Drink water before coffee, not instead of. It's a simple thing, but we're chronically mildly dehydrated, and that has so much biochemical things with how your brain operates. That's why you take electrolytes, right? And 1 large glass of water before coffee gets in. You can put lemon in it, which has affection and all that.
This is good for me.
But I love coffee. Coffee has other effects,
Yes,
and
so
we
I.
can hit those another time. The fourth thing is challenge yourself. I don't mean immediately, eventually. Sign up for a race or do something with others that's fun and outdoors. God has
Yes.
designed communities for our good. It doesn't have to be
Mm-hmm.
churchy. Um, some great friendships have really helped me along the
Yes.
way, which were centered around health. They had a different value
Mm.
system, but I have a good friend who was on Men's Health magazine. His name is Tom, and we visited them in Menorca, Spain, another island, which I recommend. And
Yeah.
he's helped me so much to just navigate these health challenges. And it's because we just developed community around that.
Mm. Love it.
Five, get a baseline, see your doctor, know your numbers, know your blood pressure, your blood glucose,
Yes.
cholesterol, all that. Be a steward.
Yes.
For many planters, this is the first step because they've been avoiding the information.
Yeah, yeah. That's good.
And
Yeah,
that's a,
I'd have to. Yeah, this man this hit that part because it wasn't until it was probably 8 years into my church plant that I finally went to the doctor to get a baseline and blood work and all that. And it's like, uh, why was I? What was I avoiding? Um, I was
mm,
avoiding knowing myself in some ways. Um, and so I just got a new base. We get a baseline every year, but I just got one actually 2 days ago, and it's amazing. I'm doing really well. But she's like, "You're dehydrated." She's like, "Well, you're drinking too much coffee." And she's like, "I know
oh,
you love coffee. You're in the one of the coffee capitals of the world, but." She's like, at 50 years old, you cannot get through days without hydration. She's like, I know you're so passionate about your work and you love it and you're just riding on, the return of what's happening, but it's going to have so much damage on your body over time. So she's like, she said the same thing. Can you just guzzle, you know, 12 ounces before you drink your coffee in the morning?
oh, really? That is so funny.
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah,
funny.
she's like before the coffee, just get it down. She's like, just get it down. I'm like, okay, okay. Like, start she's like, then you'll do it later in the day, but you gotta break that ice. And I thought, oh, that's a good way to think
Yeah.
of it. So, anyways, keep going.
Um,
Good base, yeah, get a baseline.
uh, um, get morning sunlight. So there
Mm,
are special cells in your eye. And I won't get into them, but you have cones and rods, but also these cells. And when the wavelength of the morning light hits them, they reset your circadian clock. It's
mm,
it's it, it it's an amazing thing that got created. But get some
yes,
sunlight in the morning. Don't get on your screen first. Get some sunlight. Doesn't have to be a lot.
yes.
Um, and work on our relationship with food. And let me just
Mm,
rattle off some things. Learn to say no. Learn to be hungry. Recognize that
mm,
food's primary purpose is not to comfort, but to nourish. Find whole
mm,
foods you enjoy. Try supplements.
mm,
Have a shake or a snack that is ready when you travel. Try new foods.
yeah,
Try a new diet.
yeah,
Fast. Be okay with a
mm,
taste instead of indulgence. Few of
yeah,
us can outrun a fork and knife, so a poor relationship with food can be fatal.
yeah. That's good.
And relearn to breathe. That's the last one. There's tons of
Mm,
resources on this. Belly breathing. It's so essential to life. When
yeah.
I get stressed at the office, sometimes I'll do some box breathing or just in my
Hmm.
nose, filling up my belly, out my
Mm,
mouth. You don't have to.
yeah,
The methodology isn't actually super important. It's just that you
okay.
do it. And
Yeah,
now there are good methodologies for certain conditions. I'm not saying there aren't,
sure.
but
Yes.
just do it like for a minute, maybe 2 minutes,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you'll be surprised at how it increases blood flow to your brain so that you're able to kind of think about things properly. Just a little bit of breathing. So
Yeah, it's good.
I think the last two things is you're one person. You're not a fragmented person. You're not. People talk about body, soul, spirit, and I understand the theology behind that. But you're integrated as a person, and and your body relates to your mind, and your mind relates to your soul, and your soul relates to your body, and they're like don't fragment it and try to piece a plan that like pigeonholes everything. I think seeing as a whole thing is a better way of moving forward. Secondly, the one invitation is just like you might be 50 pounds overweight. You might be like really depressed. I would just start with the simplest one thing that you can do. And share that one thing with your spouse or with a trusted friend. And that you just need to get the ball rolling and go forward. Now, of course, I'm at a point where I'm riding. I rode a bike ride a few years ago, 207 miles in one day. It's the largest one-day road bike race in the U.S. It is wonderfully terrible and brutal. But the way I got there was I just started to breathe. The way I got there was just I started to ask myself good questions and take my day off. I didn't get all the way there in like a day. You have to train for like a year to do that. It's brutal. But that's, and I'm not saying that that's for everyone. I'm saying that to get to the place where you have freedom to make some pushes and to grow, you have to get to a baseline of health emotionally and physically, and you just start doing one thing.
It's so good, Brad. Yeah. Brad, this is like a treasure trove of wisdom that's come from someone who's been through the gauntlet. And so I'm so grateful. I do wish I would have heard some of this, when I planted. It's been 18 years when I first planted our church. I'm like, man, I was so consumed with the mission that I lost touch with myself. And so thank you for this. It's going to be a resource, and I'm glad that you're still on the journey of health. And anybody that's taken this resource, I hope this might spark not shame or guilt, but inspiration that health is for you, and you don't have to neglect your body to enjoy participating in God's kingdom. So, all right, peace out. Enjoy your day.
Well, thank you, Dan.